Did you know that your tax dollars go to fund specifically, it's called the Farm Bill. And in the Farm Bill, we give provisions and we give stipends, we give grants, we give, I guess you can call them, yeah, I mean, overall subsidies in the form of grants and other even direct subsidies to food entities. And for the most part, it's very, very heavily focused on dairy and beef. It also goes into other crops. So we think of like wheat and corn. So we think, oh, great, they give a lot to plants, but a lot of that wheat and corn is livestock feed. So it's indirectly going towards animal-based products. And so without that context, it's no wonder why there's a Taco Bell. Like if I even where I live, if I go out to like the busy street corner out of, the houses and more into the busier areas, there's a El Pollo Loco and there's a Chick-fil-A and and then if you keep going, there's, a Chipotle and there's all these very meat heavy fast food restaurants. And that's not an accident. It's very lucrative to operate a fast food restaurants. We sometimes hear this from like successful media moguls where they're like, I own a Wingstop and I own 12 Taco Bells. And why is it so lucrative? Well, because we subsidize the meat, we subsidize the chicken, we subsidize the pork, we subsidize the dairy. And there have been many who've been vocal about this. There's no wonder stuffed crust cheese pizza came about because cheese is so cheap. They literally gave incentives to food brands and food companies to do something with the cheese. The cheese was like pennies on the dollar. So they came up with stuffed crust pizza. They came up with all these kind of things you think of, oh, it's just some guy thinking of it. Well, no, it's some guy who wants to make money and they're going, what ingredient is the cheapest ingredient? Oh, it's cheese. Let's use more of that and make more money because they can sell you cheese they're getting for pennies on the dollar, stuff it into a stuffed crust, and now sell you that pizza for 15. Now it's probably like 20, 15 or $20 or something like that. So let me know if that's making sense. And I'm seeing some comments come in. Yeah, yep, so troubling our tax dollars at work. Right. And I'm gonna get to this point because again, going back to what I'm saying and showing what I'm showing you is that we have people presenting to other health professionals going, it's failing, just focus on the meat. No, it's not failing. We're subsidizing our tax dollars on this. Like it's not that fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and grains and like organic produce is failing. It's just that we are subsidizing it to fail, I guess you could say, right? It's not that it's just failing on its own. So it was crazy to see that and kind of upsetting, and I just really had to put that in perspective and share the knowledge with all of you so you would know, hey, my tax dollars are going to this. And then in this day and age when inflation is another tax, inflation is a result of poor monetary decisions by our government and the powers that be. And then they're continuing to subsidize foods that we have in excess, where in the US, we waste 40% of the food we make. 40%. So here we are using our tax dollars to subsidize, and then we're throwing away 40% of it. Just doesn't make any sense. And then it doesn't make sense for health professionals to then tell other health professionals, hey, it's failing, and not mention the fact that our government's kind of failing when it comes to why are we subsidizing these foods in excess? Why don't we subsidize walnuts if we're going to subsidize anything? But really, what I would say is let's not subsidize anything for the most part. We'll have some, again, I don't want to get too deep. I can go very deep into this, so I'm really struggling to not go too deep, but we can subsidize some, obviously have some safety nets, but not to the extreme extent where we are literally crippling people with the number of taxes that we're imposing on them.